Hello everybody, Cone Dodger here. Welcome back to iRacing. This is week number 13 of the iRacing season that I basically didn't take part in. But week 13 means everything's open, no driver restrictions, no license restrictions, and it's going to be crazy. That also means there's going to be a lot of wrecks. So if you really like iRacing footage for the wrecks, this is probably the video for you. But we are jumping into the Aston Martin GT1 car to try and get a little bit of a preview, a little bit of a sense of the competition to get ready for the next season of the iRacing Charity Challenge. That will begin next week. But this, like I said, is just week 13, so this is kind of a one-off oddball video that I just wanted to do to try and get us set up for the next season. Jumping from the advanced Mazda all the way up to GT1 is not exactly what I had in mind. I had intended to go from advanced Mazda up to Star Mazda. Unfortunately, financial restrictions due to how many unique tracks Star Mazda is using kind of led me to steer away from that. So we are going to try GT1 this season. It's going to be a challenge. We're probably not going to win races, but hopefully it's still going to be a lot of fun to watch. Hopefully I can develop as a driver and really start to get a feel for these supercar GT1 race cars. Alright, get a few practice laps in before the race. This is pretty neat. They have the practice sessions integrated into the races now, so no need to just sit there and wait for the race to start. You can go into the practice, and when the race starts, another option will appear right here, and you can click that and go to your session. So it's nice, you know, you get some track time right before the race, and it doesn't have to be just a 5-minute warm-up. Practice times here are very quick. I am at my fastest somewhere in this range, but when you consider that's out of 30 cars that have taken time, that's not too terrible. Focused more on, at this point, trying to get consistent lap times. This car, and especially the setup that I'm using right now, kind of has a tendency to develop a real bad understeer as the run goes on, so I get maybe 2 laps to be able to push that hard to get into the 30s, and then after that, I really need to kind of dial it back to just running 31s, 32s to be comfortable of not overusing the car. Alright, let's see if we can get a clean lap in here with all these cars and do a little bit of a guided lap. So, out of the last real turn, then we got a couple of these little flat-out kinks that kind of make up the front stretch. Everyone likes to dive right down to the wall right here. I'm going to go uphill to the start-finish line. I'm going to be braking a little bit before the 50. A little bit conservative right now, still on old-ish tires. That's probably one of the easiest to screw up kind of turns right there. And then coming off of that turn, you can see the back end kind of wandering around. Another thing it does on cold tires. Straight down to second gear here. Sometimes third. Kind of depends on how good of a run you feel like you have in there. This is probably my favorite section of the track. It's this little sprint back up to you before you get to these basically hairpins up here. I make up a lot of time there. And through here. Really using the traction control of this car. Sections like this to help put the power down. Get past people that screw it up. This is a very difficult section, and those really wants to push out there. Use all the extra runoff. Lost the nose there as well. And we're back. It's a very short track. It doesn't feel like it's the 2.5 miles that it is. It's just, you're so busy all the time, and I guess it kind of keeps you distracted. And the average speed is fairly high, too. So that's kind of an average lap, if you will. That's the kind of pace I would like to run the race. Especially with other cars around, it's a lot different than you're by yourself. And And that's what's nice about having these open practice sessions before the race. So you kind of get the opportunity to run with more cars than you ever would, you know, just in a typical practice session. You might get like 10 cars in there. Obviously, this is week 13, so participation is significantly higher than usual. So it's good practice. See, all through this section, struggling to get back to the gas. That's going to be the key for the race. Alright, let's see what kind of crazy field we have in store for us. I'm recording this in the middle of the Le Mans race, so I'm hoping that there will be less people on than usual. But I've seen some of these sessions have upwards of 40 cars. Pretty crazy. We will see. Oh dear God. We just got screwed. Oh man. Starting dead last. P26. I did not qualify because I kind of assumed, being week 13, nobody would. Granted, only 5 people did. I was hoping for something better than last, though. Jeez-a-loo. This is going to go one of two ways. We're either going to look really, really good because we pass a lot of cars, or we are going to be dead after lap 1. There's no middle ground. It's going to be awesome, or it's going to be terrible. Alright, you guys ready for this? It is going to be crazy. I don't even know if this is a standing start or not.
Warm-up is over.
I know nothing.
Grid button to be placed on the starting.
Grid. Okay. This guy.
I have no idea what the 5 point of this clutch is, so probably gonna fuck up.
I'm with that guy.
Play.
I don't see a pace car, so I don't know. I'm pretty far back, so
Good luck, everyone.
I could be just not seeing
Have
the pace
fun.
car.
Even if it's week 13, don't need to wreck everything in the first corner.
Yeah, did everybody hear that? Just go easy through the first couple turns. Makes the race
Easy.
great for everybody.
Easy.
No.
No.
Yeah, everybody.
That's probably how it's actually gonna go.
At least the first lap turn, just take it easy.
All in for E1.
If in doubt, flat out.
Oh, standing start.
God.
I think he had the same kind of feeling about that as I did. I mean, the good news is there's nobody behind me, so I don't have to worry about anybody ramming into the back of me. This is gonna be ugly.
Got one on your right. Go right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, the car is in the air.
Just excellent.
Just excellent. But like I said, with nobody behind me, I don't have to worry about people slamming into the back of me. But with this mixed grid, no qualifying, who knows how fast these people are.
Literally, don't listen at all.
Off, so let's see if I can snake by here.
Oh yeah, contact for that.
Oh, there's another one gone. Oh, he was from the front of the field too. P3, he was a qualifier. There's gonna be more carnage through here, I'm sure. I do have to say that this car is significantly easier to drive slow than the GT3 cars were, especially the roof. That thing, oh God, hitting each other again, was terrible to drive slow. You know, try and pucks around through these beginning laps. I just hated it. Brake lockup is a major concern. It does like to do it. This chassis is extremely stiff. It likes to pick up the front wheels off the ground on corner entry, which is a problem.
Car on your right.
Oh God.
Car dropped on the right. All clear, all clear. Yeah, one on your right.
Good job, spotter. All clear, all clear. He's definitely still next to me. Hopefully, this will eventually settle out. I'd like to be able to, like, run some laps up near 100%. That's week 13 for you. It's very strange that this car has no downshift throttle blipping, so you do have to manually do it. The GT3 cars are not that way. It's not that it's hard to do, sometimes it's just difficult to remember that you have to do it. When you think sequential, you think it's automatically doing all that stuff for you. It's going off. Oh, that surprised me. Usually when you get up on that curve, it's game over, man. This car is very strip-slimy. Strip-slimy? That's a word. Slipstreamy. That was about 4 or 5 miles per hour up. Okay, you're going slow to the point where you're screwing me up here. Front tires, maybe feeling a little unhappy right there. Already. I'm sure constantly locking them up is really helping that. That's the best way to extend tire life. It's a difficult track to pass at. It's just a difficult track in general. Although, last season we had one of our best races here. But that's in a Miata. Totally different world. This track's not nearly as tight for a car that small. These cars are quite large. Getting a lot of that understeer. Oh, that's the curve I was talking about. Seems like we got some pretty quick guys behind us here. Let's see if I can tap them. This guy wants to go, huh? It's fine with me. I'm already like plus 15 positions. So, I think we're gonna have a positive result either way here. Really just like finish. Really just like finish. That's... Oh, there goes the vet. Ah, balls.
Car on your left. All clear, all clear.
Just clipped with the front. I don't think it's hurt. It was a pretty slow impact. You know, I said he was going around. Why didn't I start hitting the brakes then? Because I'm a chump. This guy doesn't seem like he's in control. Yeah, he's already lapped down. Alright, well, if the car's not hurt, the good news is I'm in a nice bit of open track. Trying to actually build some speed. Guess I'll know right here if it's hurt or not. We don't hit 160. I think she's hurt, boys. That was very slow. Either aero or they nicked me with some engine damage. Oh, it's engine damage. Yep. It's not getting up out of that turn like it used to. Oh well. Try to hold on to everything we can. Nothing else, we should be able to be getting back to the throttle sooner than everybody else. This damage model is so stupid. The way it kind of just, it like takes the collision and just like throws in some random values of damage. So it's like, oh well, he hit a 1.2 G collision there. I'm gonna take 6% of his engine power away. No, it probably actually just like cracked the front bumper. I would maybe lose a little bit of front downforce. I don't think I would lose that much power. It's gonna go. Where does he want to go? Go around the outside. That'd be fine. Should have no problem. Really see how slow it is now. A couple of them in a group here, so probably gonna bleed out a few more. Just don't hit me, please. Just don't hit me. That's all I ask. Yeah, you're not even on a lead lap. Go by me. Don't be a hero. Okay, there's no reason for me to be slow through here, so let's focus on hitting some marks. Down on power, I need to be hitting marks perfectly. Just feeling dead out of there now. Been there, done that. Oh, save it. Oh. What is with Corvettes? I hate them. I hate them. Die, Aston. Oh, jeez. Alright, maybe it's more than 6% engine damage. More like 20. It's a lot. Stay off of that. Well, I think we are now last car on the lead lap. I hate that off track back there. That is so stupid. That is I think I complained about that the whole Mazda race too. There's no reason for that to be off track. Let's hope for some more attrition ahead of us. We're actually staying, you know, decently with the car ahead of us. Well, we were. Problem is now I'm driving too deep in all these, trying to make up for the no power. Why are you using it here? I keep trying to practice that line, but never really got a hold of it. 48 seconds to the leader. Hopefully we'll be able to stay ahead of that. Oh, sounds like we got some more. Positions by attrition. I will take it. 1:33.7. Diff lock up there. Shifting too quickly. This car's like a saint to drive when it's got no power. All through practice, I was really fighting. Obviously, there's no setups out there for this car, so you know, trudging through it on my own. I'm not exactly a setup expert, but I was fighting the rear end just absolutely flying around through that fast left-hander. And I never really understood what it was that I did to fix it. Like, I went back and forth between using full downforce on the wing and not using full downforce on the wing. Didn't seem to change it. It seemed to me like maybe it was when I went super stiff on the springs that fixed that issue. I've lost my ability to really, romp over curves and use them. Just something we're going to have to think about for week 1, which will be at Watkins Glen. It's a full Watkins Glen with a boot, track that I really do love. So hopefully it's a good start to a season. Goodbye, keyboard. I think you can probably tell by how chatterboxy I am how basically easy to drive the car is right now. If you power restricted this thing down to something closer to a GT2 level, GT3 level, it'd be a pretty nice driving car. It's hard to believe how old this car is already. It's getting close to 10 years old, and how much has changed in the available grip and whatnot. GT3 cars are probably still quicker than these, even with the reduced power. Thank you. I think you were going to do that.
Clear on the left.
Cars do have more downforce, more stick-to-itness than a GT3 car, but overall I think the GT3 is still quicker. Maybe not here. This is a pretty downforce intensive track. Somewhere like Watkins Glen, Spa, something like that. Probably the GT3 is quicker. I drove the Corvette a very little bit years ago, and iRacing, the tire models and everything have changed so much since then. It's hard to relate. And I was such a noob back then. Not that I'm not a noob now. Just basically can't relate to it. I can relate to it a little bit in the Assetto Corsa, the GT2 Corvette's over there. Not a bad driving car over there either. It's certainly a lot torquier than this. It seems like you have to shift all the time with that Corvette, trying to keep it in its power band. Versus this, it's pretty smooth all the way through. Which is nice. Alright, well, this is probably, Oh, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Looks like we've lost that motor.
Well, I guess that's it for us today.
Looks like your car is towed. You'll need to tow back to the pit lane. Press
It
hold
blew
to
up.
reset.
Aston, why you do this? Boom. That wasn't a misshift or anything. It was just, look at that. There's no visual damage to this car. I guess they're claiming I had an oil cooler issue or something like that. I don't know. But let's go back to that real quick. Interesting to note that you can see what I was talking about with it. Carrying the front end. Let's go to slow mode. Oh, maybe not that slow. There we go. So as I go in here, look at it carrying the front tire almost all the way through this turn, even with no engine. I think that has a significant kind of role in the understeer I'm having with this car. So I need to try and soften out the front end and get that front end to keep both tires on the ground. That would be very helpful. Let's also go back and look at that incident. I don't know how much we're going to see that we didn't already see. Oh, the car spun behind us. I didn't see that. Just a love tap. A love tap, I say. There was no reason for that car to be damaged at all. It looks like he did the classic thing of getting out too wide over the curb there. We will jump ahead. Yep. And then around he goes. I assumed he was going to fly back out to the outside of the track, but he didn't. He stayed on the inside of the track. Game over, man. Game over. Alright, well this is going to do it for our little Week 13 preview of the next season of iRacing. Hopefully it goes better than this, but this is completely what I expected from Week 13, so don't let this deter you. It's not going to deter me. Next week we are headed off to Watkins Glen. We're going to start a new season of iRacing Charity Challenge. We're going to try to tackle the GT1 series. So stay tuned for that. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you then.